Alright, so it's been about a month and a half since I updated you from the World Championships. So just going into it now in terms of what happened there and what's going to go happening forward for the track and field and for myself in general. Yeah, so the reason it's 6 months later is really because of family stuff. So I was away on vacation and I also had to write up things for my research project and for my internship. So that took up lots of time that I would have recorded. It's not too bad. I'm mostly free now apart from just trying to do analysis on that research work, which is going to be slightly complicated, but working on it. So overall for the national championships, truthfully it was disappointing in general. So like I said during the last one, I was recovering from illness in time, unfortunately. It didn't quite clear quick enough for me to be able to run our championships fully healthy. So that's just disappointing overall. I can't see it in the results. So I wasn't really coughing or such. Just that I didn't have a lot of energy to be running. Wasn't really like fatigued, like it was just didn't have enough energy didn't have a lot of energy. So just really disappointing there. So the race itself was better for the pace than last year. So we didn't start as sluggishly. So it was better overall with that. And then at around 2 kilometers started to move forward. Unfortunately I didn't last long, so that's about a 1.5 lap before I just collapsed basically. So like strength, stride, rhythm, I just collapsed and I dropped back to second behind, so Graham and kept falling back. Still in second but kept falling back behind the time. So by the end I finished in 17:15, 17:20. Main time Mr. Graham was 16:30, so that was actually slower than his time and my time last year. So just to show how disappointing it was for me this year, because I believe I was in better shape overall. And also in doing that, by the 3.5k mark to around 4k mark, I was having trouble breathing. So I wasn't really like tight or so with like my lungs, but it wasn't taking action properly, it wasn't breathing out properly. So pace dropped dramatically there as well. So it's really disappointing overall. Yeah, that's just how sport is, I guess, where can't guarantee health or injury or anything like that, even at the bigger competitions. But just the hard truth of it is that I'm not really at the level above how I was when I was age 15. So that was my 16-20 personal best. And coming into this year, even though I think I'm better, I believe. I'm in the 1540s on the road and 15 lower in training. It's not a level above where I can easily get above without having right conditions around me. So yeah, and let's say that age 15 was the base of that level. I'm basically at the peak of level, but I haven't taken that step to go above into the sub 15 level without perfect conditions, health and such. And the sad thing is I don't believe I'm going to get there just by doing another year of the same training. So that's I'm going to have to change things to get better. For 1500, which came the day after, just really basically for fun. So I wasn't really thinking about improving on the time from previous meets or anything, just fun for fun. And I knew two of the names there, being Connor Chambers and Nicholas Power from high school. So I think they're just finishing high school and moving on this year. So the run itself, I'm basically just locked in on third from the start. So those who went to the front, I locked in behind them like 4 or 5 meters, and basically stayed there for the whole race. So the gap never really changed up until let's say 300 meters to where the fight outsprints me. So I finished in a time of 4:10. I didn't really push, but fortunately didn't collapse like the 5,000. It gets to shorter distance. Didn't put that much pressure on my lungs for the illness. Disappointing overall. That sucks that I couldn't be at my best for the national championships, but at least I tried and move on with next year. Yeah, so just thinking on it going forward, I don't think it makes sense to do the same training and hope for better health and injury risk being better next year. So I'm going to do something very different going into this year, but it all depends on schedule and such. So I was very good at injuries this year. It wasn't perfect. There are some injuries as always, but it wasn't as devastating as the last couple of years. So it really just shows how feeble it is to be getting on the sub 50 with my current level. So I think I'm going to do something different. It's like going to be a triathlon since I have some contacts and have some indication, but even if not, depending on schedule and such, it's going to be a very individual year for me in terms of doing something completely independently, like I said. So a lot depends on my school schedule because year 3, I know there's going to be a lot more time spent on trips and such will make planning things difficult, but we'll see when we get that information and we'll go from there.